showtime for another NIOH 2 skill tree guide video. Oh yeah. Today is the split staff. This weapon is really weird. It's probably one of the weirder weapons in the entire game, if not the strangest in how it works. This weapon is kind of two weapons. Less two weapons, more of a weapon and a half. The split staff is very unique in how it works. Let's go over it. First, its basic stats. Split staffs are medium damage, medium block, semi-high break weapons that scale off of strength, magic, and courage. Magic is their primary scaling. This makes them, in my opinion, the best weapon for an Omeo mage build in the entire game, and there is few competition. Some people say that the Switchglaive can be pretty good. I agree, the Switchglaive can be pretty good for a build like that. But honestly, the split staff, with its unique abilities and its unique buffs it has in its skill tree, I think can actually be better. The split staff basically has 6 different combos, in a way. I'll get into that in a second, but first, I want to go over the unique abilities that the split staff has as part of the skill tree. The split staff has an insane ability in its skill tree called the 7 stars, which are very powerful, and right up here, 5 dragons kata. Let's go over 5 dragons kata before we do any of the combos or anything. Increases elemental damage of the split staff's attacks. Already, this is amazing for an Omeo mage build, especially if you like applying elemental damage to a weapon. It does not increase the build-up, but as you will see, the build-up is not an issue. It's probably the best weapon for building up status effects, right next to something like the Tonfa and maybe the Fists, but even the Fists struggle with that because of how many grappling attacks they can potentially have and how often you can grapple. While the split staff has very few grappling attacks and has this 5 dragons kata. I would suggest picking this up if you're an Omeo mage build, like hard Omeo mage, and you like applying your abilities to your weapon, your elements to your weapon, or if you just have a magic imbued split staff that isn't corruption. Next up, increased melee damage, corruption, or purification. Those are the two that don't do anything. Next up, increased melee damage against enemies that have 0 or less by 4%. 0 Kai or less by 4%. This is insanely powerful against some humanoids and yokai, as you would think, and the split staff is the only one I believe that has this. If there was another weapon that has this... Sorry, it's cold outside. My throat is a little bit torn up. If there was another weapon that has this, it is not anywhere near as good as it is on the split staff. Alright, now that I've made that clear, let's get into how the split staff works. Every split staff combo has 2 different versions of it. Let's go over the high combo. Once again, the split staff works like every weapon. You have your standard dodges. But what the difference is with the split staff is, okay, let me explain this properly. Sorry about that. Let me explain this properly. The split staff is split. Literally. It can split into 4 different parts. So, this is the standard heavy combo. It's medium. It's 2 attacks. It's alright damage-wise. It does okay damage. Truthfully enough, it actually does slightly above average damage for a heavy combo. For a fast attacking weapon. And it does good Kai damage. Keep in mind, the break on a split staff will be slightly higher than most other weapons, but it's still not going to be super high like a club. But the thing is, this combo has a difference. If you hold down the button instead of just tapping it, you'll get more attacks. You spin it. The split staff can disconnect into 4 different pieces, and those pieces can swing individually. That just increases your range. That is known as fluid form, and we'll get into that for the mastery skills later. It's very powerful. That is the combo with fluid form. This is the normal heavy attack while in high stance. Does a lot of good damage. And this is the fluid form. Has a big long range to it. I'm I'm hitting that pillar. I'm hitting actually a little bit above that pillar with this, and that pillar's a good distance away. Despite it being a melee weapon, similar to the not the gauntlets, the dual axes, the split staff actually has good range and makes it a very good zoning weapon in particular. So there you go. That right there is the split staff's high combos, high stance combos. Next up, we have the mid stance combos. That initial hit is really good against humanoid enemies in particular. Humanoid enemies in particular, thanks to its insane bounce. See? I knock him left and then right, setting him up for a really good combo. This is the grab attack. Sorry, couldn't see it because of the bushes. Whoop. There we go. There it is. That's the grab attack. There's a second one we'll get into later. So, that little combo right there. That 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep in mind, that's one button press. 3. That 1, 2, 3. It's 4 attacks, 3 button presses for the medium combo. Now, the split staff actually shares a bit of a weakness with the axes, in which the split staff has only 1 button press for its heavy combos. This one was 1. This one is also 1. Just a lot of attacks. And this one is also 1. It doesn't do anything more. I'm tapping it constantly, and all it does is just go to fluid form. Nothing. There's no more combos. Unlike something like the sword, just the sword, its medium combos 1, 2, 3. Sorry, its medium heavy combos, its mid stance heavy combos has 3 attacks. The split staff has 1. It does hit multiple times, but it does kind of hurt your combo potential. And this is a fluid form medium combo on the mid stance. You launch it out ahead of you. Very powerful. Keep in mind, you do have to hold each of those buttons after pressing it, and there is a very specific timing you have to do. But you'll get it. It's not as hard as like a perfect parry. And this is the fluid form heavy combo. Keep in mind, that does keep spinning a while longer after you actually do that. And that will continue to hit enemies around you. Basically in a 360-degree area around you. It's very, very powerful. Alright, time for low stance. Low stance's initial combo is a sweep, which actually does reasonable damage despite it being a low stance. I know, crazy. But it does reasonable damage. Sorry if my model went off there. Let me get that. Guys, there you go. It actually does reasonable damage despite being a low stance attack. That first little sweep right there can do a good amount of damage. 3 out of 200. That's actually pretty good for a low stance. The low stance on the split staff is somewhat reasonable. And I will say, I believe every single attack in the entire arsenal of the split staff can go into fluid form. Because even combo enders could do it. That's the normal. That's the fluid form. I believe every attack can do it in some way. Now then, back to the combos. Sweep. That's 4 attacks right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then another 2 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 at the end. This is the fluid form. Something to note about the mid combo there, like this spinning attack he just did. That Hideyoshi just did right here. That spinning attack. That spin. You can't wait till the end of it. If I wait till the end of that, it doesn't do anything. I have to cancel it midway through to get the rest of that combo. It's very deceptive, because with this, you can wait till the end and then do that. But you have to immediately do that. You have to immediately press the button again for that spin. Keep that in mind. For that normal heavy attack, it's just a quick series of combos. I believe it's about 4 hits. And then fluid form. it gets more hits in. Fluid Form is usually just meant for doing more damage and applying status effects faster. Okay. So, the big thing about the Split Staff is a lot of hits, right? I mean, you'll see here, if I just go out here and just test it against, let's go against an Oni real quick. If I just, that's a lot of hits. What was that? 8? And its normal combo, 4. They do low damage, but imagine if I had a quick apply status effect on that, like fire. It would be insane, right? It would be insane, even in like the mid-stance. The heavy attack for the mid-stance and flowing form. A lot of attacks, a lot of hits, one button press. It makes up for its weakness. Somewhat makes up for its weakness. And you'll see one of the mastery skills even leans into this strength even more for fluid form. That's what you want to do with the Split Staff. But there is an issue. Fluid form, because you have to hold down the button, forces you to dedicate to your combos, which can often lead you to get hit or killed if you're not careful. Because if I'm in here, right, and I back up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just quick combo like that, he doesn't have much of a chance to punish me at all, in fact. But if I'm going in with fluid form, and then I do a heavy attack, see how long I'm stuck in that animation for? If he could retaliate right now, he would have. And if an enemy has a lot of Kai like this, they're gonna retaliate. However, he did not. So you can, that does prove a counterpoint to my argument, however. You can be aggressive with fluid form, just be careful, especially with yokai. Humans are not the best example of this because humans are limited by their Kai. Yokai, on the other hand, are limited by their connection to the yokai realm. Standing in a yokai realm portal while using fluid form can be a good way to do good damage to a yokai and force him out of it, like I did there. But it can also get you killed because you're going to be standing still for a little bit longer than you think you are. See? If I didn't quickly snap the staff back to normal and then retreat, if I would have been more aggressive there, he would have hit me and probably killed me. Do be careful with your aggression. Know when to pick your fights with the Split Staff, basically. It's a very powerful weapon outside of that, however. It's very capable of destroying your enemies very quickly, especially their Kai, thanks to the Split Staff's natural high break. Keep in mind, I have a plus 13 break on this. It's 92. This is literally nothing. And it's 77. My sword has 92. In fact, they're the exact same. Damn, that's trippy. My sword has 92 and has a plus 19 break on it. And swords are somewhat high on break. That's insane. The Split Staff is crazy for break. While it's not nothing compared to the club, it is reasonable enough to get things done, especially with its fast attack. Speed. Now then, let's get into the skills, shall we? First, the mastery skills. These two. Let me go over them individually. First one up is this. The 2 laws, as I call them. The first law here. Attacks that are granted additional hits when fluid form is active now receive a higher number of additional hits. That is really weird what that means, right? It's kind of hard to explain as well. But what that means is during fluid form's specific attacks it does. Those being those like 88 hits I'm doing right there, the ones that do like 88 damage apiece. You get more of those. You get a good few more of those like that. I currently have that one set, and you can see I'm hitting him 10 or so times if I get the combo off properly. Now, it doesn't work for everything, but it can work for basic combos, and it also works for special attacks as well. It also works for special attacks. It's a very difficult to use mastery skill. The other one is a bit simpler, but it is very powerful. So, That is the first mastery skill right over here. The second one is actually quite powerful as well. Attacks that have their range extended when fluid form is active deal a greater amount of damage, or deal greater damage. What that means is attacks like this, that have their range extended, or attacks like this, heavy stance and such, do more damage. This is dead simple. Because you're going to be using these attacks quite a bit, there's one, there's one, you're gonna always be doing more damage with this. While more hits it works into the Omeo Mage playstyle, more damage is just better for the split staff thanks to how fast it comes out. All of these, that last attack right there, it's very good. But the thing is, these mastery skills are actually kind of hard to define what the hell they do. Alright, first skill up is this pretty thing right here. This is a combo ender for your medium swings, I do believe. Yes, high stance only as well. So, you got your high stance attack, 2 attacks, but then you can do that. It's a quick combo ender that usually hits the horns of yokai pretty consistently. Watch and learn. And that was fluid form version of it as well. Does good damage. Because it's in high stance, of course it does good damage. Honestly, it's not that powerful though, compared to another. That's the fluid form. This is the normal form. The reason it's not too strong is because it's actually slow to come out compared to other combo enders, and not only that, but it's actually kinda costly. Look at how much that combo ender takes from me when it comes to Kai, because it's in high stance. That's most of my bar. Keep in mind, I have 99 heart, with a lot of things giving me more Kai. So that's a lot of Kai right there just for one combo ender. It's not the best. Alright, next up. Dragon Dance, as well as Dragon Dance 2. These are not too good in most cases. Let me explain what Dragon Dance does first. So, Dragon Dance is a perpetual attack. It's this. I can just keep doing this forever, until I run out of Kai. Then he'll finish it up. If you just tap the button, he'll do one swing, and then that. If you hold it, it'll do that. You can't have a normal form. It has to be fluid. It is something to note if it benefits from the skills. But Dragon Dance 2 allows me to end it at any time and do a little attack at the end, which is right here. You swipe it, and then they come back together. This is actually hard to perform. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is actually somewhat hard to perform because of the timing needed to be done. Not only that, you kind of have to switch a stance in this case, right? Because the thing is, it's a power-up, but you're in high stance. At least in this case, you're in high stance, right? Because it's high stance only, right? So, plus you need to be out of Kai. If your Kai reaches 0 when performing Dragon Dance, press to assume a stance that will increase your attack power. This is, if this was in like mid stance, if you could use this in mid stance, it would be okay. Bang. And then attack power. It actually lasts a while, so you pretty much immediately got to switch your stance, and it's a free like damage increase, right? It's perfectly free. You can just use it. There's nothing stopping you. But the thing is, you gotta use Dragon Dance outright. You gotta use Dragon Dance outright, which is difficult to use in some cases. But something like that can be easy to apply because, you know, it's a yokai on the ground. But then again, why not just stab him? You could just stab him. I mean, you have a magical sword back from the Heian period of Japan attached to your hip, so you could just stab them. They'll die. I mean, yeah. So I wouldn't pick up Dragon Dance 2. It can be okay if you want to just increase your damage outright for some combos, but it's not the best. Next up is one of the better skills, actually. It's mid and high stance only. Its Unruly Resolve is complex. So it is a series of attacks similar to that. You can also do this in normal stance as well without being fluid, which is nice if you want the option. Fluid stance is pretty much all you're going to be using it for, though, because why wouldn't you? I guess if you're like have somebody up against a wall, fluid stance can maybe push them away from the wall, like this. Well, normal stance doesn't. But, just kill him. Like, if you're in a scenario like that, that is an incredibly niche thing. It's good on you for, you know, not doing that and adapting to the situation, but you're probably just going to kill them anyways because you just hit them with a full combo from this. Either they're out of Kai because they tried to block it, or they're dead. So, there you go. It's also very good on bosses as well because of how many times it hits. I'll also say Dragon Dance can be good on some bosses, relatively. If you get behind them, it's difficult to use. But enough about Dragon Dance. This is pretty good. I would pick this up, especially because you need to pick it up for one of the mastery skills, I do believe. Yeah, I would pick this up. It's very powerful, very good. I would suggest picking it up, especially because it can come out pretty much any time, and it's never a bad thing to use unless you're in a very particular situation. Right? You can do a little combo like this. And then come out with this out of your jump. You've softened somebody up pretty good. This can even be a combo ender. It's very freeform. I know some people online consider it to be one of the worst skills the split staff has. But I actually think it's one of the best. Not only that, it can do something like that, because it comes out so quickly and it does good damage, about 1,000 damage right there. You know, it can do a lot. Not only that, it really, if someone's out of Kai, or it's a yokai that you hit, or it's a human that you're hitting repeatedly, it can just stun lock them. It's a big circle you make around yourself too, so it can hit multiple enemies. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have hit 3 or 4 enemies with this attack in particular, and it's just killed all of them. It does struggle in the damage department somewhat unless you land every single attack, which you're not always going to if you do this in a big group. But let's move on. Next up, this Serpent Sweep. This is a very awkward attack. This is a gamble, I would put it. If you do this outright in front of a yokai you just started fighting, you're gonna break its horns, break its Kai, and then be left with no Kai of your own, so you gotta kind of go into a freeform combo like this and hope you can back it up. It leaves you in a very difficult state. But if you were in a situation like this where the yokai is already out of Kai and you use this, it leaves you in a much better state. You can retreat, back off, because they'll be even lower on health already. Even going in where a yokai doesn't have too much, and then doing it a little bit before you run out of Kai, and then just retreating can be pretty good. On bosses in particular, this skill can be very powerful. It can be pretty good. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world to use. You need this to unlock this as well, which Hero and Kick is okay. We'll get to that in a minute. But right now, Sweeping Serpent is something I would pick up because it's, you know, it's a guard attack that uses the X button, right? It's a completely different attack, so I mean, why not use it, you know? It's only one skill as well. Next up is Deft Counter. This is actually a little bit contentious because of how it works. It's a perfect guard with no follow-ups. Does good damage, and it kind of knocks human enemies back and forces them to do a unique animation, I believe. That's weird. That glitch happened again with my stamina bar. Come on. Great. What the hell is he doing? When he gets low on Kai, he usually does this. He does about 1,000 damage with my type of split staff. That's a unique animation you force him to go through. You can follow up pretty well. What I like to do if I hit this is I like to do something like this. And then go into this. Because usually they're still, you know, a little bit paralyzed or a little bit off by their animation. Because that animation they have to go through is very long. But it doesn't actually have a natural follow-up in the skill tree. You do need to get this to get Restless, which I would suggest you pick up no matter what in pretty much any skill tree. Just for that little bit extra Kai that could save your life. But, yeah. Restless is okay. Deft counter, I would pick it up just because it's a perfect counter and it's one of your only counter moves because there are very few of them. Next up, speaking of counter moves, here's one of the very few of them that you actually need to pick up for most of the skill tree. This is Shock Stopper. Do I have this on track? I do. This is a block attack. Specifically, you block the attack. It's not quite a counter. It's not like a unique animation like, well, like Haze is. Oopsies. I don't have Haze assigned. You just block the attack, and then you kill him, and then you just hit him. Yeah, hell, you don't even have to block the attack. It says it's the counter move, but honestly, all it does is just block. It's a lazy man's counter. Which is alright. It also hits them a good few times, so if you're trying to build up elemental status effects, it can work pretty well. Like everything with a split staff. Oh, it can even work as a semi-decent, just offensive attack without the counterpart. That gives you a little bit more safety otherwise, but it's not very good. It's not very good. There's a lot more options, especially on your triangle. On your triangle assigned. Like Roar Power, the secret skill. Very powerful. Very powerful. I wouldn't use this. Shin Crusher, however, I would pick up. You need this for Shin Crusher, and this is insane. Getting crushed is not my main thing, but let me tell you, I'll get crushed for this skill in particular. Shin Crusher is very powerful. It's a combo ender for... Is it Omni? I believe it is. No, it is not Omni. It's medium and low. But those are the only few stances you should be in, because the high stance for the staff is kind of difficult to use otherwise. But Shin Crusher is very strong. You've seen me use it quite a few times. One of the best combo enders. That is the normal variant. Sorry. This is the normal variant. As you see, there's also a variant right there where you speed it up. It's very powerful. Does good damage. Good Kai damage too. That's primarily why you want to use it. Whoa, you escaped that. Congratulations. Die. Alright. It does good Kai damage too. Not only that, I have a hard time getting the timing for this down. There we go. You can speed it up. This is the fluid form variant. I said, this is the fluid form variant, which you can also speed up. Come on. There we go. You see the issue with the split staff? The timing can be off depending if you want to use fluid form or not. I would pick up Shin Crusher. It's very powerful. Next up, we have Side Splitter. This is a very odd one. This is a basket case of a skill. Side Splitter is just one attack. You can use fluid or non-fluid. It hurts a lot. It does a lot of damage and kind of blows through people. Especially a crowd. If there's a big crowd in front of you, you can use Side Splitter just for some quick damage on them. It doesn't do good break damage, but it does do a lot of damage from far away. And it does benefit from the mastery skill, I do believe. That increases your damage for range extensions. And keep in mind, that is pretty big. Like if I now summon the yokai, I'll hit both of them for 700 damage nonetheless. And it will attack yokai horns, which is very good. Just hit him over there after that yokai iframe through it. So, yeah, it's good for crowd control. If you're in like a big group of enemies And they're all trying to take you down simultaneously. Whoops, see, it even hit him behind me. It's pretty good. Oh, I thought he would die. Over you. Take my lightsaber. So, it's pretty good. But there's some issues with it. First of all, this is best used as a combo ender than anything, because that's it, right? That's literally it. It's just one attack. You can it can be used in combos. It's difficult. More used for a utility crowd control, but that's it. That's literally it. That is all this has. Is this. It's not good, especially because the split staff does actually have good combo potential. Alright, next let's go to this. This is your leap. You have a lot of them. This, however, is a special leap. This is not like any other leap. This can be used in low stance. But you can extend its effects to your mid-stance combos, which is very strong. There we go, and you can attack midair with it. But you can extend its effects to your mid-stance combos. And your high-stance combos. It says low stance only, but to tell you the truth, because of how the utility for the thing actually works, you can do it in more than just low stance. Pretty easily as well. So, I'd pick it up. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Drifting Clouds. Next up is Radiant Moon. Radiant Moon and Drifting Clouds are very similar to one another, right? This is an Omni stance, which is actually what we're doing. It's kind of a follow-up to Radiant Clouds. Sorry, to Drifting Moons, Radiant Clouds is. But this one allows you to do a Kai Pulse, while the other one doesn't. That's what we're actually using here, right? That's what we're using when we do this. It's a the skills look almost identical. But this is done during a Kai Pulse, and this is done with this. They're almost identical. You can't really tell the difference too well. But it is a thing. It has a shorter distance as well. The only reason I would pick up Drifting Clouds is if you want the abilities below it, because this is just as good and gets you more distance. But this is a Kai Pulse ability. They can be used on Kai Pulse. They're basically interchangeable, but one is restricted to low stance. This is an Omni skill, though. There you go. Remember how I said you can still use the effects of Drifting Clouds? Radiant Moon is what you want. Pretty powerful. I've already shown it off. Well, you know, Drifting Clouds is Kai Pulse ability. Radiant Moon, you have to press forwards. That does take up your forwards, X and forwards ability, but I do not believe this skill tree has any others. So there you go. Fill the Void is pretty bad. It's an Omni skill. It gets you away from the enemy, and with Fluid Form it gets you even farther away, but its recovery is just so high, it's so difficult to actually use that distance, because they'll close that distance before you recover. 3. And then, yeah, he's already closed half that distance by the time I get back into it. I can, like, dodge back, but I still have to do that whole animation with Fluid Form. It's not very good. I wouldn't pick it up unless you want whatever is past it, because I do believe there's something important past it. It can be used good for like a combo ender, but usually you're going to run them out of Kai, and you'll be so far away it's hard to take advantage of it. Yeah. Where is it? Heroin kick. Fill the Void, yeah. Fill the Void you need to buy to get access to Shadow Strike, though, which is depressing. Next up, we have Shifting, or Shape-Shifting Strike. It is reasonable. That's reasonable. This one is a Omni stance that gives you a lot of utility in what you can do with it. Let me show you. I don't have the clip here. Let me do that real quick. So, first it starts out with a longer combo that you can extend into a spinning combo by holding the button down. See how he spins it up top? If I don't hold the button down, he doesn't spin it, he just strikes with it. So it's pretty good for its fluid form, and it extends your range a good bit. And you get additional damage with your combo, so it can be pretty powerful. I would pick it up if you want something sustainable, but then again, roar power is so strong. Roar power is so strong that you might not actually like need this, but you do need to unlock this to get this, which is something I would use in its stead. Changing the ways, which we'll get to, I believe. No, we're actually going to do roar power first. Roar power is the secret skill you get from Bakin, I believe is his name. The glass jar pot, Alexander equivalent of this game. It is a triangle guard attack that is probably the strongest ability this weapon has. It is basically the equivalent of, that's weird, he just stood in front of me. It is the equivalent of true and through for this. You can partially charge it, or you can fully charge it for more range and damage. It does good damage no matter what. The only bad part about this skill is just how much Kai it takes from you for one use. But then again, I mean, you have so much range you can get that Kai back with no issue. That takes a good quarter of my Kai. It was not too much, but it's still difficult, especially if you want to spam it multiple times for good zoning. Even against yokai, this can be useful. Let's say you just encountered a yokai, you're approaching him, you can throw that in there before your combo and just go in with your big combo and decimate him. Avoid, maybe get back, and then do it again. Hello? Do it again. If I would have done that properly the first time, you would have seen what I meant. You can do it again as you exit combat and disengage the yokai, will he say doing a burst counter attack or opening up a yokai realm portal to get even more damage on him. It's so useful because of how fast it is and how much range it has. Keep in mind, that's a fully charged attack right there. What is that, 2 seconds? This is the minimum charge. Fully charged has more range than the minimum charge, but it still has good damage. Either way, it is very strong. It's a good poking tool. I'll go over how to get this at the end of the video. Next up is Ed and Flow, a heavy attack combo ender that is, well, it's an omni skill, but it has different qualities depending on which stance you use it in. There it is. I would pick this up regardless. It's a heavy attack combo ender. You can combo off of this easy, and you need it for the other skill, sadly. So you need to pick this up no matter what if you want it for the other mastery skill. It's a heavy attack combo ender that has different properties depending on what stance you use it in. Next up is Twin Phoenix and Twin Phoenix 2 and Twin Phoenix 3, which are all different combos off of the same move. That move being, well, obviously Twin Phoenix. This is the first one. First, second, third. That's basically useless. The standard forms of this move are kind of useless. It also does lack on damage, right? But whoa! I took a ride on the Hideyoshi go round. 1, 2, 3. Keep in mind that takes a lot of time for me and it doesn't do too much damage. But the fluid form, however, actually does do good damage, specifically to their Kai. As you can see, he hasn't taken much damage at all. Twin Phoenix is very difficult to use because of that. I thought I had the other thing equipped. What's this? Hero 1 kick. Oh, this is bad. Let me just kill him with Fuki's Soul Core. Oh, oh, there we go. So, yeah. Twin Phoenix is not very powerful. I personally wouldn't use it. Fluid form. This is an automatic one. Hold the button to use the attack, alter the split staff's form, changing the nature of your attack. Should have probably gone over this in the beginning, but yes. Heroine Kick is up next, and it's a pretty... Okay, this one's really weird. It has like 7 attacks attached to it. 3 outright, and then there's some... I have had a really weird encounter where it's kind of showed me... There's what it does, by the way. It's a card break attack that does good Kai damage. I have gone through a really weird thing with this attack at one point, where it has accidentally showed me like its hitboxes and how long they linger for. This attack's hitboxes linger for a long time. I was fighting Hanzo in breaking free at one point. I don't have it recorded, sadly, but it showed me just how long the hitbox lingers for. Because it can hit them 3 times, but keep in mind, its check to see if the enemy is out of Kai is way longer than those 3 hits. It's about 7 or 8 hits. It checks it 7 or 8 times. So if your enemy is even slightly close to being out of Kai like that, it's gonna hit them, and it's gonna throw them out of it, of whatever they're doing, and just throw them to the ground. There's no real way to follow up unless you do something like this. Say, you know, opponent's nearly out of Kai. 1, 2, 3, and then you rush in, hit him once, whoop, hit him once, there we go. Or you know what you could do. Do this, throw him to the ground, and then immediately start with a combo because you're behind them, and you'll get good damage off on them. Whoop. It's pretty powerful. I usually put it on low stance myself. Heroine Kick is very strong. It's an Omni skill as well, so you can put it on anything. Do keep in mind, though, you can extend your range a little bit, as it says there. I never use this, though, because usually with how this is going to work, you're hitting them twice with that. Usually you're going to be so close anyways, it's not going to matter because you're going to hit them anyways. Which is sad. Another little combo you could do with this potentially is switching your stance immediately and then doing a very powerful attack, because you can switch your stance during that. What I usually personally do is have this in low stance, break a combo, and then switch stances during the animation and then do something like that. I specifically use Unruly Resolve. What I do is this. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Goes into it. 1, 2, 3. Then I switch, and then I immediately go into Unruly Resolve because I'm behind them, and it does a lot of damage. It's a very basic combo, but it certainly works, as you can see. Because you'll be behind them, and with Shadow Strike, you can just blow through them with that shit. It's pretty good. It is pretty good. I was just picking it up if you really want to use it. It's a good combo device. It's pretty good. As you can see, it takes a lot of health. If you really want to get crazy with this, though, you can do something like this. Be in mid stance. Immediately switch to this as soon as you hit this attack. Go into this, and then go into this. A 3-stage combo. And not only that, unlike most 3-stage combos in the game, they're very difficult to pull off and you need good practice. This, you can do easy. Just switch your stances. That is it. It's just a few stance switches and about 5 button presses. Well, let me try that again. Then go into Heroine Kick, and then go into your combo here. If you do it correctly with proper timing, that is, unlike me. Come on, we can do this. Come on. Then go into Heroine Kick, go into Heroine Kick. Don't get caught by his iframes when he does that for some reason. It does put them low to the ground, so keep that in mind. Since combo might not always work, especially, but if it's in a corner like that, it probably will. And then you can go into this if you're fast enough. It's going to take a little bit of practice. No. Do what I say. Then perish. It's going to take a little bit of practice, but it is a pretty good combo. Do keep in mind though, if they still have Kai left, it's not gonna work properly. But hey, it's something. It's a little combo you can do. But enough about that. We've talked about this for more than long. Yeah, I wanted to show that off. Core power does not give you any. Core power does not give you any super armor, so there you go. Alright, moving on. We have changing the ways. And that's it. Changing the ways. Pretty simple, you've seen it before. You jump in the air. This will usually avoid pretty much any attack that's coming at you as long as it sweeps low. And then you do a small combo on the ground. This can be good when combined with heroin kick as well. But you can also use fluid form with it to extend his attacks on the ground, but I wouldn't use it because it's very difficult to hit. It's not like the combo ender for the dual stance, which is very similar. The dual attacks, which is very similar, is this Cherry Blossom, and then Dragon Spin. It's not like this. It doesn't have the same amount of lock on that Dragon Spin does. You'll usually knock your enemies away from you with the initial attack, which means the other attacks are pretty much useless. Alright. There we go. Changing the ways is the last one. I've already gone over the unique stuff that the split staff has here. I will now show you my personal split staff build. Not build, but my personal skill tree that I use for the split staff. And then I'll show you where the secret skill is. The secret skill can be gotten on 2 different missions, but I'll show you the easiest way to do it because I doubt you want to grind a long-ass main mission. So, first off, let's reset this and I'll show you my personal skill tree build. Whoop. Yes, thank you. Didn't do it there. So, split staff. Reset. We're going over the fists. Well, that video will probably be out tomorrow. We're going over the fists next. So, my personal skill tree. You want to pick up Shin Crusher pretty quick. You can pick this up if you'd like to. I'm not going to use it, however. Not going to use this either. I will pick this up, as well as this, and this, specifically for its power. This too. I'm not going to pick up Phoenix, but I am going, however, because you have to pick up Dragon Stance for this, and this, and this, I will be picking up these. Now keep in mind, this does cost a lot. It costs 6 to do this, and you have to go through it, but I wouldn't pick up Dragon Stance number 2. Alright, next up. You can pick this up if you want to. It's an Omni skill, but we're going to use a different one. We're not going to use this either. We are going to pick this up. Go into Restless. You do need to pick these up individually, which is odd, but whatever. So, at this point, you got a couple more options we can go over. First of all, Fill the Void is another option if you want something for your low combos. I wouldn't pick up Twin Phoenix or anything like that, but I would pick up Changing the Ways after Twin Phoenix if you really want it. It's a possibility you could want it, but I would pick this up no matter what. As well as this for a good little combo. You could pick up Dragon Dance too if you want something consistent with Dragon Dance, but I personally wouldn't. And then after that, I just start picking up these. I'd pick up 5 Elements, 7 Star, Restless, Indomitable, because you have to for Restless, Full Moons, and I'd pick up Shadow Strike personally, Shadow Strike number 2 if you can. If not, just pick up Shadow Strike number 2 or 3. And then maybe Passage to the Afterlife, but you're rarely going to grapple unless you really want to combo with Heroin Kick. Or Heroin Kick, or however you want to pronounce it. I'm an American, so the rules are I can pronounce it however I want. You know how it is. Well, I say I'm an American. Technically, I just live in America. But whatever. Nationality is not something we care about here. What we care about is how to get this secret skill. Roar Power is in the first DLC in the second area of the DLC. Alright? You have to complete the DLC up until the second area when you will get this mission, Soul of the Warrior Monk. Going into this mission, you will get roar power from the boss that is, well, in this mission. He's right in front of you too. Hard to miss him. Big monk dude. So, let me show you how to beat him like a real Omeo mage. First of all, apply all your limitless buffs. There we go. And then, if you really want to, sorry if you hear my cat in the background, he's losing his mind. If you really want to, just aim at his face and blow his face off with an explosive arrow or two. He does have good ranged attacks, despite him being a giant walking jar. And then you can kind of keep back a little bit, keep away from him, because he does have insane combo potential, as you see there. And then you can kind of start applying your Omeo... Whoop! He just used roar power there, as you saw. You can start applying your abilities. I would personally bring the fire talismans into this because of how long his range is. You kind of want to outrange him if you're doing something like this, which I am not, which is stupid of me. But we'll get into that in a little bit. He does buff himself, but you can usually just spam elements at him. He's not too difficult to beat. You can do something like Severing Spin as well if you got it. Yeah, he's violent. He is very violent. Let me go back and heal and kill him with my lightsaber. I'll tell you how to get that in a bit. And he will drop the skill that you're looking for. Alright, everybody. This has been the Split Staff guide video. Very nice to go over this amazing weapon. I'm loving it a lot. It has been great to see everyone today. And great to see you all. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions about the Split Staff, put it down below. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.